There is a line across North Africa that you cannot see on most maps, but the land remembers it perfectly. On one side, green valleys, cedar forests, rivers that never stop flowing. On the other, sand, silence, and a desert that stretches for thousands of kilometers. Between these two worlds stands a wall, not built by people, built by the earth itself. The Atlas Mountains. A range so long, it crosses 3 countries. So old, its rock remembers oceans that no longer exist. And so powerful, that without it, the Sahara Desert might reach the Mediterranean Sea. For thousands of years, these mountains have done something remarkable. They have decided, almost single-handedly, where the desert stops, and where life begins. Communities have lived in these peaks for millennia, speaking languages older than Arabic in the region, carving villages into cliffs, and building a relationship with stone and altitude, found almost nowhere else on Earth. But the Atlas isn't simply a barrier. It is also a fault line. A place where the ground itself has proven it can turn violent. So today, we're going to climb into the mountains that built a desert, protected a culture. This is the story of the Atlas Mountains. Look at a map of North Africa. Most people picture one thing: flat, endless, golden desert. But that image is incomplete. Running through Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia is a mountain range that stretches for more than 2,500 kilometers. The Atlas Mountains. They are not one single ridge. They are a system. The High Atlas, the Middle Atlas, the Anti-Atlas, the Saharan Atlas. Each with its own character, its own climate, its own communities. And at the heart of the High Atlas rises the tallest peak in North Africa, Jebel Toubkal. Think about that for a moment. A mountain, capped with snow for much of the year, located barely 100 kilometers from the edge of the Sahara Desert. 2 completely different worlds, separated by nothing more than elevation. And this is where the mystery of the Atlas begins. Because this range isn't just scenery, it is a climate machine. Imagine moist air drifting inland from the Atlantic Ocean. It travels east, carrying rainfall, carrying life. Then it meets the Atlas. The mountains force that air upward. As it rises, it cools. And as it cools, it releases its moisture as rain and snow, feeding rivers, forests and farmland on the northern and western slopes. But by the time that same air crosses over the peaks and descends on the other side, it has lost almost everything it was carrying. This is a process geographers call a rain shadow, and it may be one of the most important reasons the Sahara Desert exists in its current form. Without the Atlas Mountains intercepting Atlantic moisture, some researchers believe arid conditions could extend much closer to Morocco's Mediterranean and Atlantic coastlines. In other words, this mountain range doesn't just sit beside the desert. It helps define where the desert is allowed to exist. A wall of rock, quietly deciding the fate of an entire climate system. And that's just the beginning. Atlas Mountains are not empty. For thousands of years, indigenous Amazigh communities, often known outside the region as Berber, have lived across these slopes and valleys. Their presence here predates the arrival of Arabic-speaking populations in North Africa by thousands of years. And their relationship with these mountains is not incidental. It is architectural. Villages built from mud brick and rammed earth, blending almost perfectly into the surrounding rock. Homes stacked into hillsides. Terraced fields carved into slopes too steep for ordinary farming. Irrigation channels, some centuries old, still carrying meltwater from the peaks down to orchards and fields below. This is a landscape shaped by survival. Where flat land is rare, where water must be captured carefully, and where every terrace represents generations of accumulated knowledge. Amazigh languages, including Tashelit in the High Atlas region, are still spoken by millions of people today. And the ancient Tifana script, used to write Amazigh languages, is one of the oldest writing systems still in use in North Africa. For centuries, these highland communities lived largely apart from the lowland centers of power, protected, in part, by the very terrain that made outside control difficult. Isolation here was never simply a limitation. For a long time, it was survival strategy. Climb into the Middle Atlas, and the landscape changes again. Here, ancient Atlas cedar forests still stand. Among the last significant cedar forests left in North Africa. Beneath their canopy live Barbary macaques, the only wild monkey species found on the entire African continent north of the Sahara. They are also, remarkably, the same species famously associated with the Rock of Gibraltar, on the opposite side of the Mediterranean. Higher into the range, other species have adapted to a harsh, high-altitude existence. Cuvier's gazelle moves across arid slopes. Birds of prey circle above valleys few humans ever enter. And in the most remote corners of the mountains, species found nowhere else continue to exist, largely undisturbed by the modern world below. This biodiversity exists, precisely because the mountains are difficult to reach. Isolation, once again, acting as protection. But protection has never meant permanence. Atlas cedar forests have faced significant pressure in recent decades, from drought, grazing, and a changing climate. Even a mountain range as old as this one is not immune to the modern world. For most of the 20th century, the High Atlas was not widely thought of as an earthquake zone. Then came the night of September 8, 2023. Earthquake struck, magnitude 6.8. Its epicenter was located in Al-Haouz province. The rupture occurred at a shallow depth beneath the surface, which intensified the shaking felt above. It was, according to seismologists, the strongest earthquake to strike this region of Morocco in more than a century. The tremor was felt as far away as Portugal and Algeria. In Marrakesh, centuries-old walls cracked, but the true devastation was found deeper in the mountains. So, why does one mountain range decide where the desert begins? The answer, in the end, is not simple. It is elevation, forcing moisture out of Atlantic air before it ever reaches the Sahara. It is geology, the slow, ongoing collision of two tectonic plates, still shaping the land today. It is culture, Thousands of years of Amazigh communities adapting to some of the most difficult terrain in North Africa. It is trade, ancient routes that once connected an entire continent. It is biodiversity, species and forests that exist because the mountains kept parts of this world hard to reach. And it is tragedy. A reminder, have never stopped moving beneath them. The Atlas Mountains were never simply a boundary on a map. They are a living system, still deciding, every single day, where the rain falls, where the desert begins, and how the people who call these peaks home continue to survive on a landscape that has always demanded resilience. Somewhere above the clouds tonight, snow is settling quietly on Toubkal. And somewhere just beyond it, the Sahara waits, exactly where the mountains decided it should.